Hey everyone, welcome back to Crime Weekly News. I'm Derek Levasseur.
And I'm Stephanie Harlow.
And we are actually recording this on a Sunday, the Sunday before that you're seeing this because there's a blizzard coming into Rhode Island.
It's not a blizzard, Derek. It's a bomb cyclone.
A bomb, whatever the hell it is.
Because it's like basically a snow hurricane.
Yeah, I don't want it. So we came in on Sunday because everything's going to be closed on Monday and Tuesday, and we usually record on Monday. And so we're dealing with a lot of snow, but also some of you guys sent this to me. Obviously, I was aware of it. We're going to cover it quickly because it seems like we hear these stories every single week now. And like I've said to you guys, it can happen anywhere, and it happened in my backyard at Dennis Lynch Arena, which is about 10 minutes from where I lived. I've skated there before. I didn't play hockey, but I've skated there recreationally just for fun. And we had tragedy strike. We ended up having a shooting there that was tragic and could have been a lot worse if somebody hadn't stepped in and decided to stop this in the middle of it occurring. And so we're going to go over some of the details of it, kind of weigh in on it. We'll play the video. There's two videos. We're not going to play the video of the shooting, obviously, but we'll play the video where they have basically a live stream for the hockey game, and you can hear the shooting happening in the background. It's a little bit off to the right out of camera, but it's a crazy story. And it just reiterates to me, and it should to everybody else, that this can happen anywhere. I go to basketball games every single weekend for my girls, and it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter your political affiliations, your religious beliefs, what you look like. Anywhere is a target. And that's a scary thing to think about, but that's why we have to discuss it, because we have to be aware of our surroundings. We have to have that situational awareness of what's going on, even if you're at your kid's basketball game or hockey game.
Yeah, because this happened at, like you said, the arena, the Dennis M. Lynch Arena, and there was a high school hockey game going on. So not a huge professional league, nothing crazy. And it looks like at this point, 2 victims and the gunman are dead, and 3 others have been hospitalized following a shooting Monday at the ice rink in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. I have not been familiar with this case. It's just kind of unfolding. And like Derek said, he's been getting messages because of where he lives, and it's local to him.
A lot from you guys, actually.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, if it affects your community, it affects you personally. Like you said, you're saying, I've been to that rink. I go to my kids' basketball games. Of course, it's going to affect you personally. You're going to be a little bit more hypervigilant now when you go to these things. I mean, you are already hypervigilant, so I don't know how you could be more, but you will be. Now, it kind of looks like this person was targeting specifically people they knew.
Yep. Ex-wife.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a kind of random, I'm going to go to a hockey game and shoot people
Correct.
thing. It was their ex-wife and son who are killed, correct?
Yep, and it's Rhonda Dorgan and Aiden Dorgan.
So sad.
And I don't know if Aiden was an intended victim as well, or he was just hit by a random round. But yes, both were killed.
So the perpetrator is also now no longer alive. It looks like they took their own life after killing the wife and the son, correct?
Yes. So if you want to go watch the other video, you're more than welcome to do that. It's not the worst video I've ever seen, but essentially the suspect shoots the wife and shoots the son, and then a Good Samaritan basically stands up and lunges for the gun. It's an incredible video if you have the stomach for it, and they start fighting over the gun. And from what I've heard, the Good Samaritan was able to wrestle the gun away from the shooter, but the shooter had a second firearm. And at that point, they took their own life.
The perpetrator, the shooter, apparently born Robert Dorgan, and also goes by Roberta Esposito. I did a little bit more looking into it, and a friend who knew the shooter, she said that she met Robert Dorgan in 2020 after he moved to Florida following his divorce. They kind of became close, this woman and Dorgan, and she said, this woman, Kimberly, she hasn't given a last name, she said when speaking about Robert, who also went by Roberta, quote, she always spoke highly of her kids, and she said that her children were the reason that she breathed, end quote. This article also says that Dorgan wounded Rhonda Dorgan's parents and a family friend. So
Linda and Gerald Dorgan, and then also Thomas DeRusso. They were all critically injured during the incident. Again, I don't know if it was due to the struggle or they were hit by, I'm assuming if they were critically injured, they were probably hit by rounds. Now, were they intended for them? It's very possible. or was it just random fire during the struggle over the gun? If I had to speculate, more than likely there were bullets intended for them. Maybe the plan was to take out the whole family.
Well, according to Kimberly, Dorgan's friend, she said she's mad and she's disgusted. She said she can't in any situation understand how Dorgan would go and take the life of their child, especially since they spoke so highly of their children.
Yeah.
She said that she had spoken to Dorgan a few weeks before the shooting, and she said, that Dorgan was expressing frustration about not spending as much time with their kids as they wanted to. And so Kimberly says to do this to your family is just absolutely atrocious. If you're upset that you're not spending as much time with your kids as you want, and then your response to that is to kill one of them, to kill their mother, that's obviously unacceptable. Now, I don't know, were there issues? Obviously, there's issues with the divorce.
Clearly.
But I will say that Dorgan also left Rhode Island and moved to Florida. So that could be something. Maybe the mother was like, hey, how much time can you really expect to be spending with your kids when you live in a different state? How does that really tell us that you want to spend a lot of time with your kids? So I don't know what was going on here. Was there mental health issues? Was there domestic violence issues in the marriage? And that's why it ended. Did the marriage end because Dorgan wanted to transition? I'm not sure. We don't know those details yet. What we do know is this is very sad, and it was not at all justified. It was not at all the answer to any problem that Dorgan had.
No, it never is. And from what we've gathered, both firearms used at this incident were legally purchased by Dorgan.
Where did Dorgan buy them? In Florida or Rhode Island?
Yeah, well, I don't know if he purchased them. Let me correct myself. I don't know if he purchased them in Rhode Island or Florida, but he had a license to carry out of Florida. So he might have purchased them out of Florida, brought them up here. And just to address the elephant in the room, just like everything, we see what people are trying to do with this case, as they do with every case, and trying to politicize it. I see the stories about how this person had transitioned. I also see that they may have been a Trump supporter. I see that they had possible Nazi tattoos. There's a lot going on.
Tattoos. I guess they had described themselves as being to the right of Hitler.
Right. Some of the tweets that have been brought up, there may have been some conservative support there. Here's my takeaway, as it has been on every topic that's similar to this. I don't care. I understand that people want to talk about these things and understand the why. That I agree with. We have to talk about that so we can try to address the issue, get to what's really going on here and try to fix it. And there's obviously conversations around gun violence and gun reform. These were two pistols, so that opens a whole new can of worms. This was not an AR-15 or anything like that. But then you have to talk about the mental health side of things and what was going on there. As far as their political affiliations, how they chose to live their life, whether they transitioned or not, that's up to them. That's fine. We don't really care about those things. We care about the people that were affected by this, and specifically the community that's affected by it. And then most importantly, everyone else, because this can happen to anyone, as we said when we started the show. And so when we cover this case, it's not to bring up a specific issue that we're personally passionate about. Yes, it's my backyard. That's why we're talking about it. It happened 10 minutes from me. However, we're talking about it because on a macro level, this same story, you could take out the names, you can take out the location, and it could be in your backyard. And so that's what's really important to us. And for me, just looking from the outside, I think we really do have to look at not only security at these public events, metal detectors, things like that. And then I know the question will be, well, where does it stop? But we also have to look at, as I've said before, and it can be controversial, the screening when you purchase a firearm. I don't know what this person's background was as far as criminal history. I don't know what their mental health records were. That hasn't been released. But those are things that I do believe, if we are going to allow people to purchase firearms, they have to have a clean bill of health in order to do so. I know that is a hot topic for some people. I've mentioned it before, where people say, you could go through something in your past, get your treatment, and then be better, and you should still be able to purchase a firearm. I do agree with that, but there would have to be a strict level of testing and scrutiny around that to make sure that what you're saying is actually true. So again, it's not going to be just one thing that fixes everything, but we have to start doing something. The answer is definitely not doing nothing, right? Like the gun problem's too big, the mental health problem's too big. We can't address it. Let's just keep fighting over it. No, we have to do something to start moving the needle, to start decreasing the amount of times that these types of incidents are occurring. What the exact answers are, I don't know. But again, just to be redundant, it's not just doing nothing.
Listen, I'm going to tell you, metal detectors don't even work.
They don't. They're not great. You're right. You're right.
They really don't work. I just went to a musical and I went through the metal detectors and it was like it beeped, when you went through the initial ones, and then they walked me over and they scanned me with the handheld one. They were like, "You're all set." And it was only after I'd gotten home and took my coat off and realized I had a box cutter in the pocket of my coat that I had grabbed from the basement weeks before and thrown it in there because I wanted to bring it upstairs so it wasn't just laying there because I was packing things up, and it was in my coat pocket and they were like, "You're all set." So that doesn't work.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
And also it depends if they're wanding people. It depends on the person wanding you.
Yeah.
Right? Like how much are they actually putting in effort are they putting into it? I don't even know.
Well, is that wand even real? I'm serious.
It might as well not be.
How did it miss that? It was heavy in my pocket.
Yeah.
I didn't, it was like a long coat. I hadn't worn in a few because it's been so cold and it wasn't that cold this past weekend. It's just a long story, but I found out a little bit more. So it kind of looks like Dorgan's always had some issues potentially. He's in the Marines and they kind of had him released early. They said their conduct did not satisfy that. The character of his service was incongruent with Marine Corps expectations and standards. It was less than 3 months later after joining that he was pretty much asked to leave, I guess. He had 6 children with 3 women, including Rhonda, with whom he had a daughter and 2 sons. Rhonda and Robert married in 1992. They divorced in 2020. Court documents show Rhonda filed for separation, writing gender reassignment surgery and narcissistic personality disorder as grounds for the divorce. Those were crossed out and replaced with irreconcilable differences.
Okay.
So at this time, it was around this time that Dorgan had undergone gender reassignment surgery.
Yeah, so that was part of it. That would definitely lead to some complications in the relationship.
I agree. And I don't know why people are like, well, what do you mean if you love someone? It's like, no, you have the right to say, hey, I married a man and now you're becoming a woman and I support you and I still love you and we have a family together. But
right. We're going to go our separate ways.
Apparently, there was obviously a struggle with a gender identity here happening. They were trying to find themselves. And that's understandable and that's fine. But when I look up, because like I said, Derek just told me about this last night. When I look it up, I see politically on both sides it being used to satisfy a certain agenda.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Right. So on the right side, they're like, oh, it's another trans person committing a shooting. And then on the left side, it's, oh, they were allowed to have guns and they had neo-Nazi tattoos. And I think that this should hopefully show you that things are not black and white, right? That a person has multiple layers to them. And a person and their tragedy and the tragedy that they have now bestowed upon their family is not to be used for your political battle.
Correct.
Or your political echo chamber to show that you're correct or the other side's not correct. This is layered. This cannot be looked at as black and white. We don't really know what Dorgan was struggling with inside. We don't know what his relationship was like with his ex-wife and children. We don't know what was going on. But clearly, for a long time, Dorgan was troubled and was going through things.
Probably shouldn't be in possession of guns.
Should not be in possession of firearms. Exactly.
And listen, we may not agree on everything, but I think one thing we can all get behind is there's right and there's wrong. And it's wrong to use violence to get a point across. For any point. And to have this occur in this fashion over a clear disagreement, a divorce, which happens, unfortunately, every single day in this country. This is wrong. And we should all just get behind that and say, we all condemn this. This should not have happened. And we have to do something to try and stop it from happening in the future. So we're thinking about everybody involved, not only in this case, but just everything going on around the world right now. There's just so much bad news and violence. And it just feels like we as a country are just in a really bad place. And I
think
hope
we as a world are in a bad place,
correct,
to be honest.
Correct.
Yeah.
You're right. And I just, we're, we come here and we talk about crime every week, and that's terrible in and of itself, right? But we try to have a community where you guys can all come and we can get behind a particular topic, right? Fighting for justice, giving a voice to the voiceless, telling these tragic stories, but in a way where you can learn from them and hopefully benefit you and your family and prevent things like this from happening to the people you care about. But we hear all the noise going on around there. We're human beings just like you, and we're just thinking about everybody. We just want to get back to a place of sanity, and we're hoping that one day soon, especially for our kids, we do get there, because on the path we're going right now, just when you open your social media apps or look at the news, it's not going good. So we're thinking about everybody who's feeling the pressure right now and the heat in the world, and we're hoping that things turn around sooner than later. And speaking of horrific news, we're going to take a break. We're going to talk about another tragic story. However, there is a little bit of a funny ending.
There's some levity to it, at least. We need that right now.
And we specifically picked this and saved it for the end because I think we all need it. So we'll take a break. We'll be right back.
This episode of Crime Weekly News is brought to you by Wild Grain. And honestly, this is peak wild grain season.
Yeah, this is definitely, it's freezing outside. I'm not going anywhere time of year.
I know, and we're both getting ready this weekend for a huge blizzard to hit the East Coast again.
Yes, we are.
I don't know what the East Coast did.
I'm over it.
I'm over it, but Wild Grain is going to come in absolutely clutch and save us, because I have a subscription to Wild Grain, so I have my freezer stocked
ready to go.
Croissants and breads. Wild Grain is the first bake from frozen subscription box for sourdough breads, artisanal pastries, and fresh pastas, and everything bakes in 25 minutes or less, which feels almost too easy.
And unlike a lot of store-bought bread, Wild Grain uses simple ingredients you can actually pronounce in a slow fermentation process that can be easier on your belly and richer in nutrients and antioxidants. No preservatives, no shortcuts. That's why we love Wild Grain.
Yeah, and I've been loving the sourdough breads. We talk about the sourdough bread all the time. I try to make it every day. Warm out of the oven, crispy on the outside, soft inside. It makes an easy dinner feel elevated without any extra work. It's perfect for cozy weekends or just warming up when it's cold out. If you just want to have like a soup for dinner, which we love in the winter, and then have the bread on the sides, a great accompaniment.
Yep, I have my chocolate croissants ready to go for the snow tomorrow because I know I'm not going to be going anywhere. And what we really love about Wild Grain is that the boxes are fully customizable. You can go with their variety box, gluten-free box, vegan, or their new protein box, depending on what you want. I'm actually going to give their protein box a try. I'm trying to get a little bit more healthy, so I'm going to give that a whirl and I'll let you guys know how it goes.
There's nothing like having an artisan bakery in your freezer to chase away the winter chill. Now is the best time to stay in and enjoy comforting homemade meals with Wild Grain. We highly recommend giving Wild Grain a try. So right now, Wild Grain is offering our listeners $30 off your first box plus free croissants for life when you go to wildgrain.com/crimeweekly to start your subscription today. Once again, that's $30 off your first box and free croissants for life when you visit wildgrain.com/crimeweekly, or you can use promo code crimeweekly at checkout. Okay, so now we have 45-year-old Jermaine Lynn Long arrested on February 14th after the Daytona Beach Police Department responded to reports that a 13-year-old boy's neck was cut open by Long. This 13-year-old boy's name is Sullivan. So apparently Sullivan's family encountered Long while they were staying in Daytona Beach for the Daytona 500, and they were just walking down the street, and this guy, Jermaine Long, came over and cut their son's neck out of nowhere for absolutely no reason. Now, it appears that this is not the first time Long encountered the police this same day. So the police had encountered Long 2 previous times that day before the slashing took place. It was around 8 a.m. for the first time on February 14th when Long was found at a property the owner was asking him to be removed from. Officers issued him a trespass warning, notifying him that he couldn't return to the property. And at that time, the Daytona police said there's not enough evidence to arrest Long, so he was released. But then, just a few hours later, at 11:30 a.m., Daytona police officers responded to a disturbance call at a 7-Eleven on South Atlantic Avenue in Daytona Beach. A cashier at the store told officers that Jermaine Long ran into a store with a sledgehammer over his shoulder and was about to swing it at the man. And the man told the cashier that Long hit the man in the face with the sledgehammer. He ran in the store in an effort to get away from Long. So I guess Long was pursuing the guy down the street. The guy ran into the 7-Eleven. Long chased him in and then hit him with the sledgehammer. The man didn't have any major injuries, the police report said, which I don't know how that's possible. But when the police found Long, he had the sledgehammer with him. And after speaking with Long and the injured man, police said the alleged victim didn't fully cooperate and there wasn't enough evidence to legally justify an immediate arrest, so Long was not taken into custody at that time. After further investigation, the state's attorney's office determined there was enough evidence to file an aggravated battery charge for this alleged offense, even without the victim's cooperation. And so Jermaine Long was charged in connection to this incident on February 16th, which was too late for 13-year-old Sullivan Clark. Now, this is a problem for me. There was enough evidence to arrest Long on February 14th at 11:30 a.m. when he pursued a man into a 7-Eleven and hit him with a sledgehammer. There was enough evidence. I'm sorry that you don't feel that you had the victim's cooperation or whatever the hell they're saying. There absolutely was enough. I'm sorry. It's a man who's chasing people with sledgehammers. I think it's enough to just take him into custody, arrest him, and get him off the streets for a minute so you can figure out what the hell's going on with him.
I mean, I would say disorderly conduct at minimum.
Something, Okay, there's something going on. And you already know at 8 a.m. he was on somebody's property that he wasn't supposed to be there. So it's kind of showing a pattern now. It's a pattern. So now we've got 13-year-old Sullivan Clark when the police responded to the reporting of a stabbing of a teenager on the boardwalk in Daytona. And Sullivan was found with a cut to his neck. Doctors later told the family that if that cut was 1 millimeter deeper, Sullivan would not have survived. And I don't know if you know, a millimeter is not a lot.
Some people would say millimeters are a lot, okay?
Sullivan might. Yeah. Based on the way Sullivan's really reacting to this and how chill he's being, which we'll see in a video in a second. Sullivan might have been like, this is not a big deal. Why is everybody reacting so badly to this? But it's pretty bad. If you look at the picture, it's very long. I don't know how long you would say that is, but I would say several inches long.
Yeah.
So It was more of a slash and pretty deep. Sullivan's family is saying, law enforcement can do better.
Oh, yeah.
And that this kind of was unnecessary, didn't need to happen. Like I said, you got somebody chasing people around with sledgehammers.
Right.
I think that it's enough to bring him in and figure out what's going on. I don't know if he knew the victim of the sledgehammer attack, but either way, it appears that this person might not be completely in control of his faculties or of his behavior. So at the very least, bring him in, see if there's a mental health thing going on, see if he's got a violent record, things like that, before you just say, go back out, And the Daytona 500's going on, so there's tourists all over the place. Not the best time to have a random madman running around town. But what do you think?
Yeah, the family has come out and said that this should have never happened, that this person should not have been out on the streets, and I completely agree with them. He was a registered sex offender. He had just been released from jail 4 days prior to that for an attack where he had charges coming out of an incident that occurred in January where he assaulted 2 men with a knife and an 8-foot pole, and yet he's out again. And so we talk about this. I think at this point we've been doing it for so long, but still it falls on deaf ears, that the judicial process and the leniency that's shown towards violent offenders and allowing them second and third and fourth chances to go out there and quote unquote be better people, and how many times they do not do that. I do think we have to have a higher level of scrutiny when deciding to release people who have shown they have a predisposition to being violent toward others. They got to be behind bars, period. Yes, I believe in reform, but, what's that old saying? Do it once, shame on you. Do it twice, shame on me.
No, it's fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Yeah, like as in if you've already shown me that you're bad news and then I let you continue being in a place where you can hurt others.
And I'm applying it to criminal standards, right? If you've been in jail more than a couple times and you keep getting out and reoffending, at some point we have to take the key and throw it away and just say, hey, you know what? You're a danger to society.
He's on the sex offender list in Nebraska for a sexual assault of a child in the 3rd degree in 2016.
So he's just reoffending. It's a different crime, different day. Obviously he does not have a care for human life. He's clearly just a violent criminal who is not suitable to be out on the streets. Period. End of story.
He might have mental health issues too. Like, would you say? Because who would, like, you don't know this 14-year-old or this 13-year-old kid. You're just performing random acts of violence now for no reason other than to commit an act of violence. So
let me run down real quick just this guy's criminal history, just from what I found. October 19th, 2022, refusing to leave public property. Not that bad, right? October 30th, 2022, battery, possession of paraphernalia, possession of Schedule II substance, introducing contraband into a detention facility, and resisting a transit agent while committing theft. March 2nd, 2023, failure of a sex offender to properly register and refusing to leave public property. September 29th, 2025, petty theft. Then in October of 2025, possession of paraphernalia and possession of a controlled substance without a prescription. December 15th, 2025, refusing to leave a public property. This is just some of his record. Not good. And clearly we just talked about this most recent incident where he just got out after assaulting 2 men. So not good. This person is showing that they don't give a shit about the law. They're not going to play by the rules. They're someone who has not learned from their mistakes. So at what point do you say, okay, you've made your point clear, we get it. We'll leave you in prison. You can serve out your whole sentence. No probation, no parole. You can sit behind bars because we're going to keep you off the streets as long as we can, because that's the only way we can ensure you're not going to commit another crime. That's not our opinion. That's what you've shown us through your behavior.
Genuinely might be a hot take, and I think it probably is, but I don't know why it is or why it should be. If you commit a sexual offense against a minor child, you should never get out of prison.
End of story.
You should never see, like, I would say you should be probably...
Don't do it. Don't say it. I know what you're thinking.
Like, should the taxpayers be paying to keep you with 3 square meals? Or should you maybe just not be around anymore? But what I'm saying is a sexual offense against a child...
That's it.
Proven.
One and done.
And you have been
found
charged. You've been found guilty. That's it for me.
No second chances.
That's it for me. You're all set here with the society that we are trying to keep, somewhat civil. You don't belong here.
And by the way, if they took you up on that, right? All of these other crimes that I just mentioned, because everything I mentioned, none of them occur.
All of that happened after 2016.
Right. The assault of those 2 men, the assault of this young boy, none of it happens.
What more of a red flag do you need? That somebody's not right. And does it matter why they're not right at that point? If they're victimizing other people, like hurt people, okay.
When people show you who they are, believe them.
Some hurt people go out of their way to never hurt another person in their life. And there's a distinct difference between the two. So yeah, electric chair.
And on that note, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back and wrap this episode up with something
we
a
gotta
little
see how
bit lighter.
Sullivan feels. We got to see how Sullivan feels.
We got to get Sullivan's opinion on whether or not this is a big deal. Take a break. We'll be right back.
Okay, I need to tell you something. I did not realize how much I was chasing perfect skin until I stopped doing it. For years, I felt like makeup meant covering everything up, full coverage, layers, trying to blur every line, every little thing. And honestly, sometimes I'd look in the mirror and feel like I didn't even look like myself anymore. I mean, with all that makeup on, I didn't look like myself. And that completely changed when I started using Jones Road Beauty.
Yeah, you've actually talked about this before, where you're wanting to look still like you, but refreshed. I don't know if I'm describing that right, but just a refreshed version of yourself. You don't want to look like a completely different person.
Exactly what I wanted. I wanted my actual face, just healthier, more radiant. And I'm obsessed with the Jones Road Beauty Miracle Balm. I really love it. It gives this effortless glow without masking your skin. I actually do have it on now. I use it as a blush, sometimes as a bronzer, even a little on my lips. It replaces multiple steps in my routine. And the best part is no brushes, no complicated routine. I literally use my fingers and I'm done in under a minute.
Yeah, and by the way, I can definitely confirm that this new routine is faster than her old routine, because Stephanie's not as late as she usually is. Crime Weekly approved.
So it's Crime Weekly approved. So much faster, especially for busy mornings, Crime Weekly mornings, travel days. It gives you that your skin but better look without feeling heavy or caked on. And what I really love is that it's actually good for your skin. So every formula is packed with skin-loving ingredients that nourish instead of clogging or sitting on top. And all Jones Road formulas are clean and high-performing. No phthalates, sulfates, petroleum, PEGs, cyclic silicones, ETDA, or BPA. Clean beauty just makes sense.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is it enhances, but it doesn't erase.
Exactly. So if you want makeup that brings out your natural glow instead of hiding it, Jones Road is the way to go. For a limited time, our listeners are getting a free Shimmer Face Oil on their first purchase when they use code CRIME, C-R-I-M-E, at checkout. Just head to jonesroadbeauty.com and use code CRIME at checkout. After you purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and let them know our show sent you.
All right, we're back from break. We're going to play this video. This is from Sullivan, the victim, and his mother, Lori. They're giving an interview to Fox News, and you think it's going to be this serious interview where, you know, they're going to be in a really difficult position. It's going to be tough to talk about, and you could see that Lori is struggling a little bit, but it looks like Sullivan, he may be taking some...
Sullivan got those good painkillers.
He got
at
the
hospital.
good pain medication right
Which
now.
he probably needed considering how many stitches he ended up getting on his neck. But
Yes.
he's feeling fine about this.
Maybe we shouldn't have had him do this video yet. Maybe this
we
interview
shouldn't
should have waited.
The interview could have waited.
Although I will say, and we're going to talk about it more after we play it, but the reason I love this video so much is because it was relatable on so many levels, especially with my younger daughter, Peyton, because I can't tell you how many times, specifically at our Catholic school, where I've been with the sister talking about something serious and, you know, trying to make it seem like Peyton's trying well, and Peyton will go, "No, I'm not."
Peyton's giving you the
No, I'm
side
not.
eye.
Actually, no, we've never read books together at night before bed. We've never studied our prayers. And I'm like, Peyton, just go away. And I want
She's
to
like,
punch
Dad,
her
it's a
across the
sin
room.
to lie.
Yes. And sister, I'm not going to say her last name, sitting there looking at me like, really, dude?
So
Really?
when I saw this video for the first time, which was a few days ago, I hadn't known the whole story behind it, and I immediately sent it to my 14-year-old son, Aiden, and I was like, this would be your ass sitting there on national TV making me look like I was just so cringe and so extra. And he wrote back and he said accurate.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen this video, you need to. We're going to play it right now. This is going to make you feel a little bit better about everything we just discussed today.
Sully, you're a student, you're just a regular kid, and this happens to you. Does this change the way you feel when you're walking on the street now? I mean, are you looking over your shoulder, not looking down at your phone so much, looking around? Situational awareness, as they call it.
I mean, I think, yeah, but I don't think it should have to be like that, Like, it's kind of dumb.
Lori, Mom, I bet you are protective mama
we don't
bear.
know. Yes, of course. I mean, he was only 11 feet away from me when this happened, maybe 12 feet. It's absolutely horrifying. And he's had nightmares. We don't know. Hopefully we are fine, and there's nothing more to come. And his little brother, who's 11, who saw everything as well, seeing his brother's neck split open, there might be some trauma, and we're very upset.
Okay, this just reinforces what I have said multiple times, and I've said it on Crime Weekly. Gen Z takes nothing seriously. They take nothing seriously. Everything is a joke to them, and it's almost enviable to walk through life being like, everything sucks, and so why should we care about anything, right? These kids have had the internet since birth. They have had constant social media exposure. Derek, you and I are born in 1984. Ugh. We had the internet a little bit during school, and then we had dial-up, and we had chat rooms, which was traumatic in its own right. But we were also kind of monitored because our parents didn't really know, and our parents hadn't been on the internet, so they thought it was some devil box, and they knew rightly that there was people and predators on there we shouldn't be exposed to. And then we had MySpace, which was awesome, and AOL Messenger, and then Facebook and stuff. But these kids have had TikTok and things like that for most of their lives. They have been through school shooting drills. They've been through the impact that their parents felt through like the 2008 recession and how, their parents lived through 9/11 and all these horrible things. They've had political polarization as background noise forever. And then they went through the pandemic in 2020 during their formative years when they should have been in school, but they were on the internet doing school. So they use humor, I think, as a coping mechanism, and millennials do that also, but Gen Z has taken it to a whole new level. They lean into this irony of everything, absurdism. They have a nothing matters humors. Nothing is taken seriously. Memes are their emotional shorthand, and they just do not seem to be shaken by anything. They are overexposed to so much, and they see this stuff. Like what happened to Sullivan, he's seen worse every day on TikTok and social media. The kinds of things that these kids see just from having access to the internet and what they can find. Like my son has told me about things that he stumbled into on the internet where I'm like, don't watch that. And he's like, I know, it was bad. But he doesn't seem shaken by anything. So I don't know. I don't think it's that they don't care. It's just that they know if they start to care, then it's going to all fall apart because they haven't had a moment of peace their whole lives.
You went to a whole different level with the analysis of this video. I took it as simply as, and this video is this interview, it's like 8 minutes, but what the most funny part was, and I think it's probably just a really simple explanation. You gave a really in-depth, and there's truth in what you're saying.
No, because I've seen the kids act like this even when they're not doped up on painkillers.
I think honestly what happened here was mom put out his business where she's like, he's having nightmares. And if you see his reaction at that point, he just dies inside, where he literally looks at her and is like, what? No, that ain't. And he's making these faces like, I don't know what she's talking about. That never happened. So one of two things is happening. Sullivan is having some nightmares, which, by the way, would be perfectly warranted based on what he went through. And he's like, damn, my boys are going to see this. And, the girls out there are going to see this. And I want everyone to think I'm a badass. I don't need them knowing that I'm having nightmares over here. The other side of it could be Lori's, talking about what she's seeing and what she's feeling. Or
what she thinks he should be experiencing.
Yeah. And she's on national news. It's a lot, and you can get caught up in the moment. And he's like, what? That didn't happen. And he's kind of calling her out on live TV, not knowing the framing of the video, right? Because he might think that the video is framed on just her. Who knows? Or maybe he just doesn't care. But after she says he has nightmares, his tone and his mannerisms completely change, and he's basically trying to counteract the fact that his mom just said, my baby boy's having nightmares in front of 10 million people who's going to watch this video. So
to me, it's like this is giving me Justin and Hailey Bieber vibes. Like this is how Justin acts with Hailey Bieber like all the time. And my favorite part was the woman anchor. I forget her name. I'm sorry. I am sick. She says, "Do you want to have more situational awareness now? Like maybe put down your phone." He's like, yeah, but also like, it's not that serious. It shouldn't have to be like that. That's dumb.
It's just dumb.
He's basically saying, what we've all said is like, we wish to live in a world where we can
just be.
Just exist in a public place and not have to worry that somebody's going to he's like, that's dumb. So I think Sullivan is speaking for us all. That is dumb, yet also accurate, and you do need to have more situational awareness. But anything that suggests that these kids should look up from their phones is a travesty to them. So an absolute travesty. It's out of the question. So he's like, that's really dumb. So how can we design the world where I don't have to look up from my phone?
No, exactly. Everyone just be normal. No, overall,
shout out Sullivan.
With these two, shout out to Sullivan. With these two cases, even though they're very different, the premise is the same. Going out, public events where you're there to have a good time and create new memories, have an experience. And you have individuals who are out there in not the right state of mind, which causes us to have to be more cognizant of our surroundings. We can't change what they're going to do, but we can change how we respond in those situations and how we enter those situations, how we approach them, because you'd like to think you could go in there like Sullivan and just, have fun. But unfortunately, that's not the world we live in, which is why we cover these cases, to not to scare you, but keep you guys up to date with what's going on out there. Now, all that being said, there has to be more done to protect everyone in our community. And if people show us who they are, like in both of these cases, we have to deal with that and we have to address it immediately before something tragic happens, not after. It's easy to go back and say what you would have done now that people's lives have been lost. Sullivan was lucky, 1 millimeter, and he would not be here as well. Yeah. So although it's a horrible story,
he would not be here to be giving us all
these memes that we'll have for the next 10 years. What?
The way he looked at her. The way he looked at her. I have gotten that look so many times. Never in my life. Like, my 14-year-old son is a completely different person at home with me than he is, like, around other people. At home with me, and he'll be giving me this look now, he's such a, like, sweet, like, mama's boy, you know? But when anybody else is around, he's like, who is this lady? Yeah. What is she talking about, man? Like, and just the look that he gave her when she said, haven't been, and then he looks at the camera, because I think he knows the camera's on him. He's looking at the camera, and he's trying to communicate with his eyes and his facial expression.
Yeah, like, she's lying.
She's lying, man. That's all cap. That's cap.
Yeah. No, it was a, again, horrible story. I'm watching the video like everybody else, and I see that at the end, and I'm like, okay, at least I left laughing a little bit. And we hope you guys laughed at the end there as well. Again, it doesn't change what happened, but we have to try to find some levity in all of this. Otherwise, as I was saying a few minutes ago, if you wake up and just read the news every day, you would just be in a constant state of panic and fear and crying all the time. And that's not a way to live either. So we're really hoping that where we get to a turning point here and things start to brighten up. And we're thinking about everybody, not only from the Rhode Island community, Pawtucket, but also Sullivan's family as well. And again, hoping for more positive news. We would love nothing more than to get rid of Crime Weekly News. Unfortunately, we don't see that happening.
We would love nothing more than to get rid of crime.
Crime Weekly. Yeah, that's true, too.
Wait, we don't want to get rid of crime. What are you saying?
We'd find something else to talk about. We'll find something else to talk about. We'll talk about hypotheticals.
I'm watching the America's Next Top Model documentary right now.
We'll just start covering Big Brother and traders and reality TV.
Reality TV.
Guys, we're going to be back later this week with Elizabeth Smart, Part 4. We look forward to seeing you guys. Until then, everyone stay safe out there. If you're in the Northeast, good luck with the shoveling.
Yeah, good luck, guys.
We'll see you guys soon.
Bye.